Hello, everybody. Welcome to Release Day. It's September 15th, 2016, the day that Backdrop 1.5 comes out. We're really excited. We've got all kinds of great features that are in the next release, and today we're going to be spending polishing up these last couple of items, and we're going to be using this meeting to focus exclusively on the release of 1.5. So we'll skip the normal infrastructure, community updates, etc., and just kind of use this as a general kind of scrum, if you will, to kind of talk about all of the remaining tasks that are before us and what we need to do before and after the release of Backdrop 1.5. General announcements. No real serious announcements here. Calabox RC2 is released with native Backdrop support. You can donate to Backdrop CMS, and you can get a Dragon t-shirt and hoodie at backdropcms.org/contribute. And if you join the Backdrop Contrib group, we have lots of PHP Storm licenses for anyone that is in the Contrib development group. You can send us an email, info@backdropcms.org, and if you are a member of the Backdrop Contrib group, we will send you a PHP Storm license. There are no updates from the PMC committee this week, and so we will go right in to the Backdrop CMS project progress report. So releases, although 1.5 is coming out today, the last release of 1.4 is also coming out today. So that's version 1.4.5. That will be released probably in the next couple of hours, actually. It's good for me to get out 1.4, the last release, with a little bit of breathing room around 1.5 so that we can do one thing at a time. The nice thing about the 1.45, well, there's actually a good 30 or so fixes in that last release of 1.4, but it also knocks out our last major bug fix issue that we've been talking about every week for the past couple of months, which is images frustratingly deleted by the cron cleanup tasks when you upload an image into a block. So that problem is now fixed. Those images are now marked permanent, and they stay around after 6 hours, which is great. So that will be out shortly in the 1.4 release, and of course it'll also be in the 1.5 that is coming out later today. Okay, so the items for 1.5.0 that we've got. So I'll run down through the list of what we had marked last week, and we can see where we are in each one of those items. The 7.50 Drupal, 7.50 crossports, we've got about half of these completed, but not all of them. And so that's fine. We've got, I think, all of the features or API changes, minor API changes that are in that issue into 1.5. And so the remaining minor items and bug fixes that we have not completed, we'll just put those into 1.5.1 or 1.5.2 or whenever we finish the crossports. The one that's really interesting out of that series of crossports is support for the UTF-8 4-byte character sets, which basically means storing emojis in the database. That's been finished and ported and elaborated upon, as tends to be our MO. We've included in 1.5.0 not just the ability to support 4-byte UTF-8 characters on new installations, but there's also an in administrative area upgrade tool for upgrading your existing websites via batch operation. So if you're interested in upgrading your site to UTF-8 4-byte characters, you can just visit your status report after you upgrade to 1.5, and it will provide information on whether or not your server supports that feature, what you need to do to enable that feature, and a link to the documentation on how it works. So yeah, so that one's done. It doesn't need review anymore. That one's been merged. Okay. Next item The new front-end theme in core basis is issue 1361. This is our last-minute item that hasn't been merged yet, but will be merged by the end of the day. So 1361, we've kind of stopped logging issues against that large thread because it's about 90 some comments long at this point. So if you find new issues in Basis, file a new issue if you find a new issue, basically, and tag it for the 1.50 milestone, and we'll do our best to get it fixed before the release. If it's just a minor UX thing or a CSS, tweak here and there, we'll do our best to get in every single one of those before the release of 1.50. But if we don't, that's fine. It'll be in the follow-up release. So that's our one item that is still not merged, major item. The rest of these, it looks really good. The new homepage layout, issue 1042, is merged. So we now have a single column homepage layout, which is fantastic. In that homepage layout, we have the new hero block placed by default in issue 1152. That is also merged. Responsive drop-down menus are enabled and turned on out of the box on the homepage and all other layouts in issue 2107. Let's see, do we have an issue for this one? Move permissions for viewing unpublished content. Or more permissions, sorry. We also have the ability to, for view any unpublished content, so you can make a editorial administrator, essentially, so they can view any unpublished content without giving them, like, administer nodes permission or ignore node access permission. So basically, let them have site-wide unpublished content access. Yeah, so that's the collection of things that we have, at least regarding that permission zone, not so much, but regarding the homepage. I think from a marketing perspective, what we're going to be doing probably is having a big tout about basically an all-new out-of-box experience, because like everything about the homepage has changed, from its appearance to the way that it's built to the things that are on it. Yeah, it's actually really awesome. I'm really excited. Let's see. Originally, we were trying to pitch this release as the editorial experience release. Unfortunately, the items that were key to that reference module has been kicked to 1.6, and several items in the meta for improving the rich text editor have also been kicked to 1.6. We did fix a couple minor things, though. We reworked the way that the toolbar buttons work. We're going to add the formats drop-down back to the default toolbar. The link and unlink buttons were missing out of the box for some reason. That was actually just a bug, but now they have been corrected. And there was an anchor tag button that just, if you dragged it into the toolbar, it just didn't do anything. And that's also been removed until we can get proper support for actually supporting named anchor tags inside of body content. So for all items that are tagged for 1.5, we got them down to just 6 of them last night, but it's back up to 13, which are all almost entirely CSS issues at this point regarding Basis. So there's a really good chance we'll be knocking those out one after the other here this afternoon. Oh my goodness, 1.6? Are we really going to talk about that? Okay, it's being added to our agenda here. So 1.6, yeah, the things that got kicked or bumped, reference module and the rich text editor, those will probably be focus items for 1.6. Jen, do you want to add something?
No, I was just going to say that we don't have to talk about it, but I wanted to set it up here because we're going to have to talk about it starting next week. But yeah, put your thinking hats on about what you guys want to do for 1.6, and we can come up with that next week. That's all.
Okay. So as always, we have user experience and developer experience issues that we're working on continuously. We've actually piled up a huge chunk of UX issues between the 1.4.5 and the 1.5.0 releases. So with both of those coming out today, we're going to see a pretty big jump in a lot of those UX issues. One UX issue in particular I was really happy to see cleaned up in 1.5.0 is that we eliminated the last inappropriate use of the word settings and changed it to configure for the layouts UI. So now a layout doesn't have settings, a layout has a configure page instead. So I don't know, minor thing, I know, but it's nice. Now we have consistency across the board for what a settings page is and what a configure page is. Yeah, let's call it as far as 1.5.0 items and not talk about 1.6.0. Jen?
I was just going to say we should talk about feature freeze.
Oh. Yeah, just as a possibility, I think that we'll probably move that to, I mean, it should be done as a PMC vote. So, but the general proposal is just that this last-minute cram, although exciting, it's also really stressful. And so for the next release, 1.6.0, I'd like to propose that we take a vote of the PMC and establish a feature freeze. But because we will always be moving, like we will always move to a more conservative model over time. And I know that it's a little bit sad to have our cowboy level project move into this level of moderation that we have a feature freeze. But we can start small. And my initial suggestion was just that we push it out 2 weeks. So we make the first of the month feature freeze, and then we have 2 weeks in which to fix things and not add new stuff. And that way we'll have a lot more time to plan for things like, you know, the newsletter and the marketing and the blog post and things like that we can build during that 2-week period, as well as nail out all remaining last issues. So.
Catching bugs and user experience related follow-ups. I think that just sometimes when we put in features at the end, like stuff gets missed, and if we can put in features earlier, we can go back and kind of make it a little more polished, and less stress is good. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't sound like there's any huge objections. We'll talk about it.
What that snuck in at the end this time?
What? What was that?
What were the features that snuck in at the end this time?
All of them.
But
I mean, we didn't have anything on this list a week ago, right?
So what would have made it into the release if we had done a freeze?
Everything would have been better.
Okay.
Yeah. So our theory is
it's not that. Yeah. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, if the freeze had been there, we would have just done all of this work 2 weeks earlier. That's all that's our theory, at least. Well, Wes is cracking up there. Not so certain about that. Well, then we would have had less things in the release, and we would have learned our lesson, and then we would have planned better for 1.6.
Maybe.
All right, I know we're developers, and procrastinating is kind of our thing, but I would like to establish some sanity. So set deadline 1 month early, and then not meet it, and then yeah. No, we do have. We actually even have a policy around setting releases and then sticking to them, and I think that should apply to our feature freeze as well. Like, let's be serious about our dates and not be faking them. So if we say that we're going to freeze on the first before release, then we should stick to it, regardless of the appeal of we could squeeze in this one thing or whatever, even if that one thing was all of basis. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's not happening this release. This release, like today's release day, basis is a pull request, but it's going to go in. Yeah, That's fine. Changing times.
That's why I think it's also good to talk about it now for 1/6, because we couldn't possibly have gotten this release out without advance notice, everybody knowing that the actual day you need to be done is the first. You can plan around that. But if just like, sorry, it's not ready, we're not putting it in, that's totally not cool. So think about it. We'll talk about it. We'll have a PMC vote, and then we'll make plans for 1/6 so we know what we're doing.
Okay, that's it for the agenda. Jen, do you want to show off the books again?
Sure. Now that the meeting is broadcasting, so there are 2 books available for Backdrop CMS. You can get a beginning Backdrop book, which is not terribly fat and scary, which is good, or Migrating from Drupal to Backdrop book, which is really tiny because it should be easy to migrate from Drupal to Backdrop. Both of them are available on Apress or Amazon, and yeah, if you are coming to Bad Camp, you can browse them in person because we'll bring them so you can take a look. That's all. Thanks, Todd Tomlinson. Great job on the books.
That does it for the meeting. We usually open up for general discussion. If you guys have anything in particular you would like to bring up to talk about regarding the release or anything else. No, nothing. All right. Okay, well, yay, go team. It's release day. It's really exciting. I'll reiterate how pleased I've been with the amounts and volume, and honestly, the thing I'm most... What's that?
And the quality.
The quality, yeah. And honestly, the thing that I'm most excited about is the treatment that we've had of other people. Like, we've had a lot of new people come in, like right here at the last second as well, and it's been just fantastic collaboration across the board. Like, lots of great welcomes and congratulations and high fives and lots of great enthusiasm. It's been great because I'm sure that even though this is free open source and we're doing this because we want to and we like it, it's just great to see that passion channeled into excitement rather than into fury. So I've been really happy with our entire community and the way that we've been treating each other under a stressful situation. So yay, very excited. Roll them bones. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining the meeting, and thank you everybody for watching. We will be collaborating together on GitHub and in Gitter, and let's finish this thing.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
See you guys next week.